I personally have been buying shares of the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF or SCHD every single day now for several years. And as you can see, for an example, right here in one of my long-term dividend growth portfolios, I purchase around 1 or 2 shares every single day, day after day, and these are just the purchases so far this year. And just for even more transparency and some more proof, here are some purchases of SCHD that I made in my portfolio from last year. Buying shares of SCHD day after day after day. Now in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly some of the reasons on why I'm personally buying shares of SCHD every single day and plan to do so throughout this entire year. On top of that, later on in this video, I want to share with you exactly how many shares of this ETF I have as a current after buying shares of the ETF for several years now, and on top of that, how much I earn in dividends as of right now. So if you want to learn more about SCHD and why I think it's the perfect dividend growth ETF, stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. I just finished my brand new dividend investing ebook where I share exactly how I went from zero to now over 7 figures invested, and also on how I earn more than $6,000 per month in dividends. I also finished my custom dividend tracker that you can use to track your dividend income progress on an ongoing basis. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. So if you guys have watched my videos before, it's no secret on why I love this ETF so much and why I'm purchasing so many shares of SCHD every single day, but maybe there's some newer investors watching this video currently. And the basic answer on why I'm purchasing so much SCHD and plan on doing so until I hit over 1,000 shares, hopefully by the end of this year, is the fact that for me personally, as a dividend growth investor, I'm looking for exactly, for the most part at least, what this ETF offers and more. Now, what I mean by that is I want to invest in something that's diversified and has a strong, solid methodology, which this ETF definitely has because it does track the total return of the Dow Jones US Dividend 100 Index, which is an index comprised of super high quality stocks in my opinion. And on top of that, even more importantly, the methodology, the way that this index works is very impressive. But along with that, the main reason on why I'm so fond of this ETF is because it's cheap to own. The ETF has grown like crazy over the past 10 plus years. And on top of that, SCHD offers a nice starting dividend yield and along with that, a consistent dividend growth rate. And because of those reasons, SCHD is a very well-rounded long-term buy and hold forever position, at least in my opinion, because it does basically offer everything I'm looking for as an investor. Not to say that there aren't other really high quality dividend growth ETFs out there, things like VIG, things like DGRO or DGRW, which also are going to become a part of my portfolio in the future. But at least as of right now, what I'm trying to achieve as a 31-year-old dividend growth investor that's looking to grow my dividend income as fast as possible on a month-by-month basis. But on top of that, I want to build my portfolio's foundation. So with all that said, those are some of the main reasons on why I'm so bullish on this ETF. Now, I talked about the fact that as a dividend growth investor, dividends are very important to me. And that's one of the main reasons, one of the main focuses of this ETF is of course that it does offer around a 3.5% more or less starting dividend yield. But maybe even more important to some investors, especially important to myself, SCHD year after year for the most part has paid more and more in dividends over time. Now, to give an example of this, in 2014, let's take it back around 10 years ago, this ETF paid $1.15 per share in dividends for the entire year. Now, just for some context, over the last 2 dividend payouts, that basically equals the entire dividend payouts if you were to add them up together of what this ETF paid 10 years ago. So what I'm trying to get at here is that over time, this ETF has paid more and more in dividends, which is going to compound the portfolio, or at least should compound the portfolio if history, of course, is to repeat itself, which you can only hope so when history is good, of course. But because of this ETF's track record, I'm buying shares like crazy, hoping that the dividend growth rate is at least somewhat going to sustain itself like it has in the past. Now, this is mainly important to not only keep up with inflation, but later on in my life, maybe 2 years, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years down the road, I want to start utilizing a lot of my dividend income to live off of. And it's going to be much easier if I buy investments today that pay me more and more, or at least should pay me more and more in the future. And like I touched on a minute ago, even though there are other dividend growth ETFs out there like VIG that does also pay a dividend and does also have some dividend growth, but also has grown a lot faster than SCHD. Overall, for what I'm looking for personally, meaning a higher starting dividend yield, SCHD is perfect for my long-term portfolio as of right now. Not to say that I'm not going to add a lot of VIG in the future, which I plan to do so. But now to get to the fun part. You saw towards the beginning of the video that I've been buying shares of SCHD every single day, and it's been my mission over the past several years to buy at least more or less 1, 2, or maybe more shares of the ETF every single day. And I'm super happy to announce that as of filming this video at least, and keep in mind I'm going to buy more shares tomorrow and the next day and the next day, but as of filming this video, I currently have around 588 shares of SCHD throughout all my portfolios combined, which is absolutely awesome considering we are approaching a massive milestone of 600 shares, which we should hopefully hit in the next few weeks. Now, my average cost throughout my portfolios is somewhere up around $72 per share, and SCHD as of right now is trading just below $80 per share. So just as far as that goes, I'm up a lot on my shares. Not to say that I'm ever planning on selling my shares, but it still feels good. Now, because SCHD over the past trailing 12 months has paid around $2.67 in dividends per share, this is per year. As of right now, with my 588 shares, if I don't purchase another single share of SCHD and just use those shares to pay me dividends, we're looking at $1,569.96 in dividends as of right now on a yearly basis, or just around $393 per quarter as of right now, which also awesome to see we're almost approaching $400 on a quarterly basis. Now, what's also crazy is that every single quarter as of right now, we should be getting paid somewhere around $390 from my 588 shares of SCHD. And if SCHD currently costs somewhere around $70 per share, every single quarter as of right now, if I were to drip those dividends into more shares, every quarter I could buy myself 5 more shares of SCHD without spending another penny of outside capital. But like I sort of mentioned, my longer term goal for the rest of this year is to get to a point to where we can get as close as possible, or hopefully even surpass somehow 1,000 shares of SCHD before I set my sights on a different ETF, and trust me, I definitely have my eyes on some. So now that we talked about SCHD, we explained what this ETF is, why it's a potential good ETF to invest into if you are looking to build a portfolio that offers substantial dividend growth, at least has historically. I want to show you exactly how an investor investing just $10,000, which again, in the grand scheme of investing is not that much money, could turn this $10,000 investment into much greater than $10,000 per year in dividends. So in the dividend calculator, we are going to have a starting principal of $10,000, which is the complete amount invested. We're going to have a 3.4% initial annual dividend yield, which is somewhere around where SCHD offers. Now, on top of that, we are going to have an expected annual dividend amount increase of around 8%. Now, there's been times where SCHD has grown their dividend much faster than this, and times where it's grown it a little bit slower. So just to be sort of fair, let's go with 8%. On top of that, expected annual share price appreciation, 4%. It's hard to say exactly what's going to happen in the future when it comes to the share price or of course, expected annual dividend amount increase, but we're just going off estimations here. The distribution frequency will be quarterly, and dividend reinvestment or DRIP will be turned on. So this means that all the dividends paid a long time are going to be reinvested into the portfolio, which is going to create a massive compounding effect all along while the dividend growth is going to consistently make you more money down the road. So the numbers are in, and this is how it's going to look, guys. A $10,000 investment into SCHD, year number 1, is going to earn around $344 in dividends. And this is per year, so not all that much dividend income, nothing all that significant. But again, if you reinvest those dividends and let the dividend growth happen, this investor is already up to $384 per year in dividends. By 30 years in, this portfolio would be at $167,000 and over $17,000 per year in dividends. So now that I share with you a ton of my buys over the past few years, you saw my daily purchases inside of my real portfolios, buying shares of SCHD every single day for several years now. We talked about why this ETF, for the most part, fulfills almost everything I'm looking for right now as a long-term buy and hold investment. And I also shared with you exactly how many shares this ETF I have as of right now filming this video. I lastly want to hear from you guys down below. If there is a current stock or ETF that you're buying currently on a daily basis and really trying to build a position in, I want to personally see what it is. Drop the ticker symbol in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.